Midwest Box Trucking. It looks like my sound is good. Good. Can y'all hear me? Okay, I'm gonna take it that y'all can hear me pretty clear. So yeah, it's been a minute, but pretty much I guess the space has been kind of, I don't know, dry. It seems like views have, kind of been down a little bit. And I mean, I kind of know why. It it kind of seems like when a lot of the, drama and so forth died down, that the viewers kind of did with it, because I just been kind of noticing the views and so forth in the space, and it ain't been a whole lot of back and forth, like hooping and hollering, fussing and fighting going on. So it don't seem like it's been as many people tuned in. But I will say I do get a lot of feedback that pretty much individuals still do come to the space for education and still do find value in the content. So that's what I do it for. And I don't worry about anything else nor entertain it. It just kind of is what it is. But I think tonight should be a really good live stream. I plan to go over 10 or so of the most frequently asked questions in the space. And what's happening, Great Polo? St. Louis. And yeah, actually, Great Polo kind of gave me this idea in one of my other live streams where he was saying I should do something like this. And yeah, that was a really good idea because I get a lot of emails and DMs asking me, different questions. And like I said, some I'm able to get to, some not so much. Today I went through a bunch of emails, responded, set up a couple consultations and so forth. And I'm going to try to be a lot better about that, responding to those emails. But I figured a live stream would be a good chance for me to kind of go through different questions that I get on a regular basis and kind of answer them live with you guys and give you guys a chance to kind of interact. And if you have questions in the meantime, just drop them in the chat and we're going to go from there. What's happening, Mark? How you doing? I ain't been putting the mic to use as much as I should, but I'm about to start to. And yeah, these live streams, they be a lot to set up. It's a lot that goes into it that if you don't do them, you really don't see. And you want to produce like a quality stream. So yeah, it's a lot to set up. I've been meaning to jump on and do one in the last week or so, but I've just been tied up, busy, kind of tying up some loose ends and getting things in order. But stuff is coming together, so I plan to be doing more of these in the near future. Definitely. And like I said, each one that I do, I kind of get a little better at and switch the setup. But yeah, I think I got stuff in order for the most part for now. I'm sure I want to change some here shortly, but yeah, it is what it is. You said it was about 2 hours. It's a emoji sitting over the end of your chat. Yeah, yeah. This one I don't know. It may be I plan an hour, hour and a half max. I should be able to run through everything, and yeah, it may be shorter than that. It just depends on the engagement and how many other questions that I get. Cause yeah, I want to answer everything because I'm only doing like one a week so far, and I feel like I've been kind of behind. So I may pop in and do like a surprise live in a few days or so. But yeah, I want to answer everything that you guys have. So I ain't gonna wait too long. I think we're gonna go ahead and get into it. Um One of the main questions that I get on a regular basis, from a lot of individuals that starting out is, can I start in a rental truck? Like that's like a really popular question. And it's a short end answer to that, and then it's a long end answer to that question. On a short end, yes, you can start in a rental truck. Now, I made a video kind of touching on, if a rental was even worth it. And it did turn out to be a reasonably popular video. But yeah, like I said, on the short end, yes, you could start in a rental truck. Now, on the other end, a question that you're gonna have to ask yourself is it going to be profitable and worth your time? Okay, because it's still individuals that are currently in rental trucks. I'll say that. I see them every day. I will say these are individuals that have been around for a period of time and kind of understand the, box truck game, if you want to call it that, and pretty much just how to move a truck and keep it profitable. And it's going to be a whole lot less profit in a rental truck. I think everybody knows that you can make some money, but like I said, you're going to have to be the judge on if the profit and the effort is actually worth your time. Because like I said, the individuals that are in those trucks, they've been around for a while and they understand how to route and keep those trucks moving. So that's something you got to think about, because I know most people want to start in a rental. I did just do a video also touching on leasing, which is not so well known. But like I said, that's something that a lot of people should think about. It's similar to renting. With some companies, it could be a lot cheaper. I'm hearing with some companies, the prices are similar to renting, but it's similar to a long-term rental. And they cover all of the maintenance. And a lot of times they give you just an all white truck with no badges or anything on them. Now, some companies do have, their names on the mud flaps or on the truck, like Ideal Lease. But yeah, leasing is something to look into as well. And you just got to kind of figure out what works for you. But like I said, you can start in a rental, but I don't know how much, profit is going to be in it. And I don't know if it's going to be worth your time. You're going to have to determine that kind of on your own. So, Gray Polo said my last live was almost 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it been a minute. Yeah, I said that. And I see it ain't been a whole lot going on in the space. I guess there's other things going on as well, but I mean, I'm here. The banking information. That's a good question. Now, I've been hearing of a lot of individuals that have been having problems when they switch their bank accounts with Amazon Relay. So they set up with Amazon Relay with one business banking account, and eventually, for some reason, they need to change it. And when they change that information in Amazon Relay's app and they put the new financial institution into the app, it puts their payments on hold. And I don't know why this is happening. I've personally never changed my business banking account. I've had the same financial institution since I've started my trucking company now 5 years ago. But I've heard of a lot of individuals having issues when they do switch financial institutions for whatever reason. And yeah, that's one of the new common problems. And I'm hearing this in upwards of 2 and 3 months that some people have had their payments placed on hold due to switching, like I said, their financial institution. So I don't know why that is, but for some reason, as soon as you switch banks, it's an issue. So yeah, I have heard that on a numerous occasions, and yeah, I honestly don't know why that is. And I know at times it can be hard to get in contact with certain performance managers. I've been hearing that. I kind of now try to just stay out of the way. And I'm not just saying this because I'm live, but I just play everything by the book now. I don't cut corners. I don't play with the app. You know, I run my stops in order. It's always tempting to try to, beat the system. But when you get those emails and they catch you up, a lot of times it's not even worth it. So yeah, I just for the longest time now just play it by the book. I know how to skip around and do different stuff to, you know, do different things with the app. But yeah, I don't even mess around. I try to book stuff that I know I can be on time for, because that'll be something too. You could be in a location. It's happened to me. It's happened to other people that I know of that, you think you're 30 minutes from a facility, you're actually 38 minutes away. You book a load that is to be picked up in 31, and now you 7 or 8 minutes late. And pretty much that'll hit your score regardless. They're gonna catch it, even if you're a minute or two late. So then now you got a performance score issue. So yeah, you definitely want to be careful, with how you're booking your loads. And that's why I say I just kind of try to play everything by the book. I don't even need those issues. Yep, that's exactly what I've been hearing. That pretty much, yeah, when you change that account, it's 2 to 3 months at times. And I don't know how it plays out because I've never talked to an individual once they got everything sorted out on how long it took. But I know it definitely could vary with that bank account. And yeah, if somebody's thinking about changing a bank account, that's something to take into consideration. That if you switch your bank account with Amazon Relay, it will likely it's going to put your payments on hold for at least, I don't know how long. Like he's saying it's 2 months. So, and it's still not sorted out. So who knows how long that could play out. So that's something to think about if you're switching financial institutions. Are you able to wait 2, 3, 4 months? You working and you running your truck, but they're still not disbursing, your payout each week. So now he's having to run his truck, out of his own pocket. So that's something that a lot of people are currently running into, and something you definitely want to think about. Definitely. I use Amazon Relay regionally. His question was, do I use Amazon for OTR? Now, I use Amazon Relay regionally. So, pretty much Illinois, Iowa, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and yeah, I don't even really go in Minnesota like that. So yeah, that's it. And I don't go to Kentucky. And I've been to all of those states because I ran OTR in a sprinter. But in my box truck, I've only ran regionally. And I kind of try to keep it that way. I don't really want to go OTR. So just to kind of move along, the second question that I normally get, and these frequently asked questions and emails is, should I lease on to another authority for the first, say, 6 months to a year? Because everybody kind of knows about Amazon Relay's 180-day rule, or 6 months, that you have to be an active authority before they'll actually let you run relay. So that's a question that I get a lot of times. Should I lease on the first 6 months with another carrier? And once again, that's kind of a question that's to each his own. I would say some of those situations can work out well if the terms and conditions are fair for both you and whoever you're going to lease on with. That's something you got to think about, because if you're leasing on, you could be leasing on to anybody. So you want to make sure that the terms and conditions is something that's profitable for you and something that you could, live with and follow. Because I've heard of a lot of situations where individuals lease on, and before you know it, it's a bunch of issues with payouts, percentages, and so forth. All type of stuff could go wrong. You know, you're under somebody else's authority. You could get pulled over by DOT, have an issue with them. It affect the person you leased on to. So it's a lot of situations that you have to think about as a carrier leasing on, or as a person that leases on carriers. You want to think about that. Technically, your authority is on the line. So anything could happen, and you definitely want to be running motor vehicle reports and just doing background checks and so forth to make sure that if you are leasing on people, that you leasing on the right people, and these are not high risk individuals that are going to cause you to end up in a sticky situation. So, like I said, it's kind of up to you, to each his own. But those situations can work. But like I said, that's going to tie into overhead, and it's going to decrease your profit for whatever you do run for whoever you do lease on to. So just make sure the terms and conditions are correct and workable. Man, yeah. And yeah, he's saying he keeps contacting Amazon, and they're telling him it takes, and I'm not laughing. It's this fiasco, man. I'm just telling you, but he's telling them that, man, it been 2 months since I didn't change my account. I'm not making any money. This put me in a hole. Can you find me somebody to fix this? And their response is, it takes 14 days to, like, yeah, that's kind of like I'm saying this too, where the AT&T situation. So the whole world know that AT&T had an outage. Carriers were not able to communicate with the app because it was an outage. They didn't have phone service. So they could not communicate with the app. They could not scan their skids. They could not arrive themselves at the facility and so forth. Okay. And Amazon put out a notice saying that don't worry about it. These situations will be resolved without carriers even having to dispute them because everybody experienced the same issues. So a week or so later, everybody's performance score gets hit. And now people start to dispute the performance score hits, and it turns into Amazon saying it's carrier control because they were not communicating with the app. So now a bunch of people's performance score got hit due to a cell phone outage. And yeah, I have Verizon. So luckily I didn't experience any issues, but yeah, that's unfortunate that individuals ended up, taking performance score hits and they know that it was a cell phone service outage, but they still won't reverse the performance infractions. That's just something else. I don't get it. Yeah, and man, yeah, I salute you for even be able to sustain, you know, going through that issue with your payments. Cause yeah, it's rough, man. I definitely understand. Darren B, what's happening? What's happening? How you doing? Yeah, Amazon. That's why I say I just try to play it by the book. I try not to end up in those situations because I know how hard it is to get stuff corrected. So I just try to stay out the way because yeah, it just gets super crazy at times, and it's so easy to get in a situation, and now you got 6 weeks, and you know pretty much have to run because now they got the active week system. And my buddy, he was in his semi, and he had a airline blow during the cold weather. Everybody had issues, but he had an airline blow. So he had to reject the load at the gate. He was almost at the gate when the airline blew. So he rejected the load, and pretty much Amazon hit his score, as they will. So he had been running for 5 weeks, but he was telling me it had been 6 weeks. He was off a little bit. So he had actually ran 5 weeks active, which is running one load successfully with no infractions. That's an active week. You have to run at least one load successfully with no lates, disruption free, etc. Like it got to be an active week. So he ran 5. He thought it was 6. And he like, man, his score was still dropping. It dropped from a 60 to a 50. So he like, what's going on? Like, how it worked? And I'm like, so you sure you ran 6 weeks active? He like, yeah, I ran. So he looked back. He was like, no, I ran 5. I'm like, well, you're gonna have to do one more trip this week. And he was trying to find a trip, and he couldn't find one. So eventually he ended up running a load for $158 going like 30 miles. And he sent me the load. I screenshotted it, but yeah, it was like $150 going 30 miles, pulling a trailer in a semi. And yeah, it got so bad that he ended up jumping back into his box truck. And he was like, man, it's just brutal when you make a mistake. Most definitely. It definitely get rough. I know how it go. I got like three, four, 3, 4 apps that I'm using. His question was how many apps I'm using right now. And I asked during one of my previous live streams about what apps you guys were using, but nobody really want to tell. And I mean, I get it, I understand, but yeah, I got like 3, 4 apps, and I'm gonna do. See, that's a good idea too. I appreciate that, Great Polo. Another thing too, Great Polo, you support all of the creators, man. That's what's up. I see you around. You harass people at times, but you do support all of the creators, and you analyze, and you most of the time are prompt and on time. So I respect that about you, and yeah, man, salute to you for real, for real. But yeah, you gave me the idea for this stream, and yeah, I'm gonna do that too. I am gonna throw out like some apps that individuals could turn to, because it's a bunch of them out there. It's just what you want to do. Like, do you want to do it's a bunch. You could do produce, grocery, you could shop for people. It's so much that you could do to where you don't even have to run your truck. You pretty much can do this stuff out of your personal car or SUV. You just got to sign up with the app, have regular insurance. You don't even need special commercial insurance because you're doing it out of a personal vehicle. That's the same thing with a lot of medical supply contracts. A lot of that stuff gets shipped around in personal vehicles. It's coming in like totes, like needles and stuff that people may have to get themselves a shot or something with. That stuff comes in like big totes. You could put 10 of them totes in a car or SUV between the back seat and the trunk. I've seen it done. So all of this stuff don't even require a box truck. It just depends on what you want to do. But it's definitely a bunch of apps out there. I got a lot of apps. Now, what I use, maybe like 4, but soon as I say a app on here, it like Curry. Curry is like next to extinct now. And when I first started doing it, it was, a lot of opportunities, and it just turned into everybody signed up from a particular video or particular videos, because I know it wasn't just my video, but the video I made, it was really big. It was one of my biggest videos recently. And yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, them opportunities on the app, when they did come, they went so quick that it was just like crazy. So, I mean, yeah, if I put it out there, they do go quick. But I've used Curry. I know a lot of people know about Mothership, uh, and it's a few other ones, even some that's not so popular. Like they got weird names like Draver. It ain't Driver, it's like Draver. It's a bunch of different apps out there that you can sign up with, but they are area specific. So you want to make sure that if you signing up with an app that they're giving out runs in your area, because it may not pertain to whatever particular area you working in. So yeah, another question that I get, it's like a commonly asked question is, and this is people that don't actually have a truck, and they'll ask, should I pay insurance for 6 months while my authority ages? And they don't have a truck. They're going to use a van for your commercial insurance policy. So they just want to pay the insurance while their authority ages, and they don't actually have a truck, and they're not actually running loads. And this is a question that I actually get on a regular basis. And my answer to that, just to be honest, is no. I would not pay 15, 2,000, $2,500 for insurance if I'm not actually running a truck or a cargo van, like, no, I would not pay insurance while my authority ages. Now, that goes back to the second question. I would lease on to somebody before I did that. It would make way more sense to lease on than to pay for insurance for a mystery vehicle and wait for authority to age. So no, I would not recommend anybody doing that. You're gonna really drive yourself into a hole, doing something like that. So that's something that I get often. And yeah, the answer to that is pretty much just no. And a really, really popular question that I get is, should I start in a box truck or a cargo van, a sprinter van, whatever, or however you want to phrase it? But that's a common question as well. Should I start in a van or a box truck? And I'm going to say, me personally, because I can only go from what I would do. And all of this is, my opinion. So me personally, I started in a cargo van. And yes, right now, just the way times are, I definitely would start in a cargo van as opposed to a box truck. I think you definitely gonna have a high rate for success. First off, just because it's lower overhead, it's a lot less risk, DOT, authority, MC wise, and pretty much it's a lot of gig apps. Like I said, a lot of these gig apps don't require a box truck. It's a lot of gig apps to move a cargo van. You could also expedite. I expedited for a year. So you could travel the entire US, wherever you want to go. If you want to drive to Miami, you could do that. So me personally, I would start in a cargo van, see how that worked out for maybe a year or so. And if you like it and it's profitable and you're able to save and put away some money, then eventually I would maybe think about moving into a box truck. But yeah, I definitely will recommend starting in a van, some type of cargo van. And you don't want to start in any van. I say that. I would research and pick the right van for your trucking company. But yeah, me personally, I would start in a cargo van. Now, it's opportunities to make more money in a box truck, but that's not set in stone. It's no guarantee. So that's something you just got to think about. But once again, me personally, I would do a cargo van. That's just my opinion. And the next one that a lot of people ask is, can I keep my day job and essentially be a weekend trucker? Pretty much is what a lot of people want to do. They want to be a weekend trucker. They want to work their job during the week and run a truck maybe one night a week, and then, on the weekend, if possible. And they want to know if that's going to be profitable. And once again, in my opinion, my answer to this question is going to be no. Like, I think initially starting out that you're going to want to be able to put all of your time and effort into your business or your trucking company. So I wouldn't recommend you to try to simultaneously work a job and run a trucking company and try to be profitable. It may work, but I doubt it. And I'm just being 100% honest. So no, I don't think you should try to work a job and be a weekend trucker. Either quit your job and get all in and build up your trucking company, or wait and figure out what you actually want to do, what's important to you, and what works best, and then go from there. That's just my honest opinion. But like I said, you can try. All of you guys could, do whatever you want. It's to each his own. But in my opinion, like I said, I would do one or the other. Like, make a decision and then go from there. But I wouldn't try to do both. So Great Polo, you said I saw you on you was on a fork truck or something, right? So you do that, and so you drive a truck too. What type of vehicle do you operate? What type of vehicle you operate, Great Polo? 26-foot Hino? Oh, okay, okay. So when you because you looking to get in eventually, but I know you was saying that you pretty much working towards it. But I know I saw something you was saying you got a family and so forth, but you was working on kind of trying to get your own trucking company. Is that the goal? But you don't really have a time frame, right? Okay, okay. Yeah, I saw that. Okay. Well, yeah, it's definitely good to get experience driving for somebody else. And then, you know, stuff will definitely, I guarantee you, run smoother when you do get your own trucking company. And just keep working at it, because, everything come with time, you know. And who knows, by the time you actually get all set up, then things may be looking a lot better. Because I'm thinking eventually, because I got that question, and it's not one of the questions, but I got that question too. Do I think it's going to get any better anytime soon? And honestly, I do think it is going to get somewhat better. Now, I don't know how much, and I don't want to say one way or another. But I do think within the next couple months, once the weather breaks and people start traveling and vacationing, I do think the rates and volume will increase somewhat. Now, I don't know how much, and I'm not going to be, the person that determines that. We'll just have to kind of see. But I do think things are going to, go on some type of uptick. But I mean, we'll just have to see, how much better things actually get. Jerome, what's happening? He said, do I only run Amazon or OTR? Currently, I'm only running Amazon, and that's only due to some issues that I was experiencing with my truck, which finally are now sorted out. So here shortly, I'm looking to get some type of local contract and mix that in with Amazon Relay. But currently, yeah, I only run Amazon Relay. And I got a few gig apps that I use from time to time as well. But yeah, I'm gonna probably jump on DAT and like do some local like contract work. And I actually just walked into a place which I recommended people do this in the past. And yeah, today I was coming from the gym, and it's a place I pass all the time. and they got a rental rider truck at their like big overhead dock door. And pretty much anytime you see that, that's somebody that's renting a truck to support, the shipments for their business. And a lot of times those rental trucks can be expensive. So if you own or finance a box truck, it will make sense to stop by some of these places and just talk to people and see if they can replace that rental box truck with your box truck, or if you could support maybe they need another box truck. I've seen that as well. So you just kind of got to talk to people. And that's what I did. I passed the place all the time. So today I decided to stop, and I just went to the overhead door. I pulled up in my car and just walked and knocked on the door. And a couple guys, I got a video of it. I recorded it. But yeah, two guys walked out, and I just asked them, did they need some help? I had been coming by there and I see the rental truck, and they said that they contract with Red Bull. And so they have some type of contract with Ryder as well. So pretty much they didn't need any independent contractors. But one thing he said was that, hey, I respect, the hustle and just you coming by. And yeah, I just said appreciate it and left. It don't hurt to ask. And you never know. This could be something to get you away from, always searching the board or, depending on Amazon. So a lot of the places that you pass right by, oftentimes you could go in and just talk to people, be presentable. Don't go in all crazy. But I'm a firm believer, if you're not coming in a negative way, why can't I come in and say, hey, man, look, I got a box truck. I'm trying to make some money. I see y'all ship stuff. Y'all got a box truck. Can I, work with you guys, or can we work together? I don't think it's nothing wrong with that, long as you're not going in, super crazy. So that's just something to think about. But yeah, they didn't need anything. And like they said, they had some type of rider contract. Layovers. I mean, I guess it's not considered a layover with Amazon, but I know what you're saying as far as when you have to wait. With a layover or whatever that is, they should be paying you a different rate to wait, because I'm thinking you talking about overnight. Now after 2 hours should be detention pay. That's in most cases when detention pay starts. But a layover means you're keeping freight overnight or over the weekend. And in that case, the rate totally changes. You got to renegotiate everything, because now that freight is holding up your truck from running other freight. So either you got to get it off and like cross dock it or something, but you can't leave freight on my truck overnight and not pay me for it, or think you're going to pay me the regular rate. Because I've ran into that before with a local contract that I was running, and I worked it out because I actually I left with the freight. And the reason why I left with the freight was because I arrived with the day contract load at like 12 p.m. I already had an Amazon load for like 3 or 4, and I wasn't getting a rejection. And so I arrived at 12 p.m. and they like giving me multiple loads. So I'm picking up 1, 2, 3 places. Then I drop in a particular order. So I get to one place, pick up, everything go fine. Get to another place, pick up, everything go fine. One towards the front, the other stage behind that. And then the third place I go to, they supposed to load me on the right-hand side. They come in playing all reckless. I'm telling them, like, what you doing? Like, why y'all so reckless with the truck? So he come in, he bump, he on a stand-up like little lift truck. It's like the short little whatever. So he come in with it and swing the back end, and he busts a hole in one of the other orders that I had picked up earlier. So I instantly like, see, this is what I'm talking about. I call the company like, so the third pickup guy just bust a hole in this box, and it was a cardboard box full of like L-shaped metal pieces, like small little L-shaped metal pieces, but it was like 5, 6, 7,000 of them in that box. So when he busted, they just start sliding out. And the more you move the box, the more they'll slide out. And he looking like, what you? I'm like, what you do? Nothing. That's on you. Like, so I call the company, like, so they just bust a hole. What y'all want me to do? They say, take a picture. I take a picture. Boom. Say, was it like that when you know? It wasn't like that when I picked it up. Wasn't no holes in it. It was perfectly fine. They put it on here perfectly fine. These dudes was playing. That's exactly what I told them. They came on here reckless. I said something to them about it. They ignored it. They bust a hole in it. Now they in here trying to figure out how to fix it. And they looking at me like I'm finna help. This is exactly this is exactly what I tell the dude. So they like, wait, hold on. So they call them and they like, so what's going on? What happened? And they like, well, yeah, the crate's busted and we gonna fix it, but we gotta wait. And I'm like, no, see, we can't wait. Like, I gotta go. And I'm already supposed to be out of here. And I got these other 2 loads to drop. And we got a time frame. This stuff got to get to them, and then I got to get out of here. If they wouldn't have did this, I'd already be gone. So they like, well, wait. I'm calling the company back, like, so what y'all want me to do? They like, wait. I got to pulling off slowly. So I call them back as I'm moving, like, what y'all want to do? They wait. I took off, got on the interstate. I'm not finna play with y'all, because see, it shouldn't have happened. So I'm going down the interstate about 30 minutes back. I'm about 10 minutes from Amazon about to pick. And now I'm in my head stressing, like, so now I got, because I dropped the other 2 loads. I worked it around, and eventually we got it situated to where it was at least, good enough to move, but they would want me to wait to see if they could even deliver it in that manner. So the people told them to go ahead and bring it on. None of the stuff should be damaged. By that time, I was already gone. I dropped the 2 other orders and kept going with the one that they damaged. And I'm trying to figure out like how I'm gonna get, because it's super heavy. Like I said, it's like it's a bunch of different metal pieces. It's probably like over, like I said, 6,000. So pretty much I called back then. I had a driver. And I was like, hey, man, I need you to meet me at Amazon. And he was like, oh, he was a real cool dude. He was like, okay, be right there. He met me at the truck stop. I was like, we got to get the rest of this stuff up and move it to the back of the truck, because I got to pick up a load. And whatever, I got to pay you or whatever to straighten it out, you good. But let's just get this stuff up. We got it up in like 10 minutes. Moved it up on the, pallet jack and pushed it to the back of the truck, and pretty much got it in order so I could go get the load from Amazon. And by the time I got into Amazon, the company was just blowing up my phone. I finally answered. I'm like, man, I had to go. And they was like, all right, man, they said you could drop it in the morning first thing at like 7 a.m. And they wasn't happy. And they told me that we had to have a talk about it, and we had to talk about it. And I just told them, like, I didn't expect it. I got there at 12 p.m. There's no way I shouldn't have been done by 1:30. Wouldn't have been any issues. I know stuff happened, but this was just, I was already disgusted because I watched it happen, and it shouldn't have happened, but it was just carelessness. So, yeah, we talked about it, and yeah, it was straightened out the next day. And I did tell them that, it wouldn't happen again. And I would just from then on not book anything until I knew exactly when I was done. But man, you got to try to make what you can make. And yeah, I shouldn't be dealing with y'all freight in limbo, because I did wait a long period of time. But yeah, it was just a sticky situation. Slick in the building. What's happening? What's happening? Right, right. Yeah, you got to definitely give it a shot, man. For sure, for sure. Grace Logistics. What's happening? Grace Logistics in the building. Amazon running the shipping game right now. You could say that. They got it in the headlock. I say that, but Walmart still do their thing too. It's just like, yeah, Amazon is definitely the biggest right now. Yeah, but it's their system and they setup, and they always planning, and you really just can't beat that. And they came in that way, and they've continued to do it. So all they do is grow and grow and grow. So it's just kind of how it is. But yeah, they definitely got it right now. Nito LLC. Am I saying that right? What's happening? He said, I'm learning to be prepared for the unknown. That's a lot of the content I've been making lately. And, I'm not ever trying to be negative, but I just want people to know what they're facing. Like, a lot of people come in for 6 months and then they complaining and they blaming, different content creators and so forth, for their misfortune. And a lot of it's just like miseducation. Or I understand that a couple years ago, everything was like peachy cream. Everybody was easily making money. So oftentimes individuals would just think it would never end. And now everything is different. So a lot of times people start trucking companies with a lot of false hopes that just are not true. Like, you're going to run into maintenance issues. Everything is not going to always go as planned. It's not. I said that in the video. You could come out with all good intentions and everything go wrong. Mishaps happen. I just had a 2024 International with 1,074 miles when I picked it up from Enterprise. I drove the truck 110 miles and it kicked on a transmission light exactly the same as the light that was on in my truck. A brand new truck. So this kind of what I'm telling people, you do have to be prepared for the unknown. You do have to have money saved up and put away in order to be able to sustain through the tough times. Like the slow season, the first quarter, currently what we're in right now. Like, you have to be prepared for these times. So that's why I say also not to be harsh. People ask this question, and this wasn't on the list. How much do I need to start a trucking company? And that, in my opinion, kind of depends on you. How much do you know? What connections have you made to be able to run freight and keep your truck moving and remain profitable? Like, all of that kind of depends on you. But I would say at least 20,000. I want to say 15 to be hopeful, but I'm gonna say at least 20,000 and maybe a little more, depending on how long that learning curve is. Because just like he's saying, he learning to be prepared for the unknown. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. You can make plans and things change. So you definitely have to be prepared for the tough times. And yeah, you want to be saving. When the times are good, be putting money aside. And I've always thought in a process, like, I don't know, for me, the times when I'm working hard, I'm not spending money. Like I'm eating, and like most of the time when I'm on the road, like I try to just eat once a day. I damn near eat the same thing every day. Like I eat Chipotle. If I'm on the road 5 days, I probably eat Chipotle 4. I eat the same thing. Like I know how much it costs. So I don't know how people spend so much money if they really working how they supposed to be working. Like what are you spending money on? So that's something else that I think about too. Me personally, like I don't really spend money if I'm actually working how I'm supposed to be in a truck. But it just depends, because I guess a lot of people eat different. You know, I don't really even want to be eating 3 times a day when I'm in the truck. Like most I eat is twice, so yeah, I don't know what people are spending so much money on, but it seemed like that's kind of an issue as well. Y'all moving quick. Slick, you got curry? What you get? You talking like you got something nice. Darren B. Nah, I didn't run anything today. I'm sitting still. I'm just happy that my truck is straightened out. And yeah, I'm sitting still for the second. I'm about to jump back in action in the next 24 to 48 hours. And then hopefully everything is like business as usual. But like I say, you never really know. Yeah. Never really know. Zach B say trucking is doing wonderful. I don't know what I guess he said a lot of people are hiring and looking for operators. And yeah, that's cool. But I mean, what are they looking to pay those operators? Or, because I get dispatchers and so forth that contact me on a daily basis, and they don't be talking about much. Like, you got to be careful who you run for. I'm gonna just say that I've had a couple contracts that were, one was good, one wasn't so great. So it just depends. But I wouldn't say trucking is doing wonderful. I think it's workable if you got a plan and a understanding on how to move and route your truck. And like I said, keep it profitable. But wonderful, I wouldn't necessarily say that. You can get by. And like I said, I think within the next couple months, it should get a little better. I just don't know how much, but it definitely should get a little better. Grace Logistics got that dedicated load. Grace Logistics got that dedicated money. Zach B. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you don't want to be eating all that. I like I watch people get like hot dogs and stuff from the truck stop, and yeah, I just don't trust all of that. And then I had a time when I was like OTR, so and it was kind of right after COVID, people were still kind of trying to protect themselves. So it was states that I didn't eat in. I'm just being 100% honest. Kentucky was one of them. I ain't eating Kentucky at all. I just wasn't hungry. And I mean, if I'm there a whole day, I'm not eating. I eat tomorrow. And I just had particular states where I chose not to eat in. And yeah, it was during COVID anyway. So it was still when you had to go in with mask on and all of that. But yeah, I pretty much try to eat at the same places, and I'll wait till I get back to them particular places before I eat. And yeah, I eat the same thing, which is it's just like a bowl from Chipotle. And I don't even put a bunch of stuff on it, because if you put that hot stuff on it, yeah, you definitely gonna feel it. So I just get like a regular bowl, chicken, and yeah, it's like $10, $11. I can eat that like 4 times a week. And then I just have a drink, a snack. That's it for the day, beside my coffee. And I try to do that like most of the time I'm on the road. Sometimes I might deviate and eat a little different, but most of the time, yeah, that's almost what I eat every day. 650 for 40 miles. What, you do that in a box truck? Where you at? 650 for 40. Slick, where you running at? Yeah, yeah, the truck back in motion. Yeah, everything coming together. Like I said, I'm just tying up loose ends. Everything will be together here shortly, and then yeah, yeah, it's gonna be good. You said they gave you a load that you got to hold till Thursday, and you got it on Monday. They trying to get you 150 a day. I would try to negotiate that 150, but a lot of people might try not to even give you that. But yeah, I definitely have an issue with that. Definitely. But yeah, 4 days holding a load is crazy. Like, I'll be upset, most definitely. Like, that's a situation where they should possibly try to like cross dock and get the load off the truck until further notice, or until it need to be moved, and just have another carrier take it. I think that would be like the responsible thing to do, but they may just not want to pay to do that. So if that's the case, then 150 a day, that's like a per diem, I guess. So I guess, but yeah, I would be at least trying to push for maybe 350 a day, just because of what you could possibly be making. So that would be my advice, to talk to somebody and say, hey man, even if you gotta kind of like, I don't know, just let them know you have other obligations that you are now missing out on, because you holding a load for 4 days. So 150 is not gonna be enough. That's what I would recommend. And just see what they say. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? I mean, I would just try it, honestly. 4 days, that's way too long. That's way too long. I could see if that was over the weekend. Maybe you had it on Thursday, then maybe 4 days, because okay, we can't do it Friday. But nah, 4 days during the week. That's definitely kind of crazy. Nito LLC. He say he just rolling with the punches. I just used that phrase earlier today. That's kind of got how you kind of got to live your life, man. I was just using that phrase earlier today. Like, man, you just got to roll with the punches. It is what it is. Like, life is gonna throw things at you, kind of probably just to see how tough you is. And yeah, you just gotta kind of stand up. It get rough, but I always say I feel like it get greater later if you stick with it. If you don't give up and you stick with it, it'll get greater later. Trust me. So that's my opinion on things. But yeah, he say he just rolling with the punches. I definitely feel you. For real, for real. I've been seeing some about that Amazon round table. I ain't involved. Like I said, I'm telling y'all the truth. I stay out the way so I don't have to, you know, talk to Amazon. Not that I don't want to talk to Amazon, but just because when you talk to Amazon, they usually don't talk back the right way. So when you end up in issues, and you need certain people's help, like oftentimes you can't get it. So I just try to, not be late, not get into it with nobody. Like I just stay out the way because I mean, most of the times I'm not interacting with people that often. So when I do, I just try to be courteous and understand that certain people may be going through stuff in their personal life and then they try to take it out on you, which I don't agree with, but that's just how certain people handle things. So I just take that approach and try not to go back and forth with people because yeah, you could end up in a world of trouble and you will be tested. Let me say that. You will be tested. No matter how peaceful you try to be, you know, you will be tested. And I was like at a particular facility, 2, 3 days ago, and it was just nothing but a test. Like I pulled in and I know normally the gate to go to, but that's usually the pickup gate. I'm actually dropping off. So I go to the inbound gate. And immediately when I pull up, the dock attendant comes out. She tells me, go around to the other side. I said, but this is an inbound load. She said, yeah, but it's going to drop on the other side. I said, okay, so which way you want me to go out? You want me to bag out or just make a little U-turn? She said, make a little U-turn. I'll make a little U-turn. As I'm making the U-turn, it was a guy, one of their spotters, like sitting in the spotter truck and the little white truck with the short back that moves the trailers. So he's sitting there, he talking to her. The second I make the UE and go turn around and go towards the other gate, he starts the truck up, cut me off, start driving in front of me. So I'm like, okay, I'm staying back, let him go, and he's stopping at points for no apparent reason, sitting there. I stop. Then he take off again. Then he start laying on the horn as soon as we go into the other gate that I'm supposed to go in. He blows the horn for like 5 minutes straight, all over the lot. And I'm just wondering, like, why nobody report this dude? Like, this is like, I mean, just blowing the horn for no apparent reason and a lot where people are spotting trailers is a distraction. It's a disturbance. So he's blowing the horn, driving all around, just being crazy. And I'm like, what is up with this dude? I'm like, ignore him. Like, just ignore him. So he come back in front of me, the lights in my eyes for a minute. I'm like, what? So, I literally, which I was tired anyway, I lay across the seat, like just ignore him. Like, don't say nothing to it, just ignore him. Like I lay across the seat and just start looking at my phone. 2 minutes after I lay across the seat, the hardest knock on the window I ever heard. Doom, doom, doom. I get right up. Like, so I had to sit here and go through all of this. And the second y'all see me, like, I'm just finna chill and just wait and be patient. Get up. Now they give me, because it was a cancellation. So they give me the case number, and then I get ready to leave. So I'm like, I guess I had to lay down to get up out of here. So I go to leaving, and at the time, I'm not knowing that the load got canceled in the system. Sometimes Amazon will immediately cancel a load. You get the 175, and then you could keep going. Well, this was the case, but I didn't know that. So I'm driving. It's a semi in front of me, and I'm watching him because they just stop abruptly for no apparent reason. So I'm watching him. He going, and it's a spotter. I don't know it's the guy that was blowing the horn, but it's a spotter that cuts off the semi in front of me. And so now I'm looking at the phone because I'm trying to, get ready to communicate with Relay to get them the case number so they could put the cancellation through. So then the semi pulls away. I pull away. I look up. Spotter cut me right off. I stop. So then he get the waving his arm all out the window, and I'm looking. I'm like, oh, this is the guy that was blowing the horn. So he starts to drive out. I roll the window down. What you doing? He like, hey, you in my way. Get out my way. Get out my way. This how he talking. And I'm like, what you mean? Like, I was just pulling up. You saw me, like, and this is exactly how I'm talking to him. I'm like, it would have made a whole lot of sense for you to just wait 2 more seconds and I could have passed you. Now, I told you when the truck in front of me pulled away, I was looking at the phone because the truck in front of me was stopped. So once the truck in front of me pulled away, I looked up and I went. He cut me off. So when I said this to him, I'm like, what? That didn't really make a lot of sense. He was like, oh, you on your phone. You on your phone. I ain't going to wait for you to be on your phone. This, that, and the other. And I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll pull away. So yeah, I got out of there, but that whole situation was just weird. And it just, stuff like that comes up, and you just gotta be prepared to deal with it and just stay calm. Stuff to me sometimes just be a test. And yeah, you just kind of got to make the right decision, because I'm not trying to sit and just go back and forth with, somebody over something as small as, you cutting all of the trucks off. If I put myself in your truck and it's 2 trucks coming by, I let them go, then I pull out. So you cut him off, then you let him go, then you cut me off, and he's pretty much just adjusting his truck. So yeah, it was what it was. But that type of stuff, when you running freight, it comes up all the time, and you just gotta kind of be prepared to, deal with it. That stuff is gonna happen because you got a bunch of different attitudes in a bunch of different places. And, people get hot, upset for whatever reason, and then stuff like that happen. I also got some footage where it was a couple guys that was about to, I don't know what was gonna happen, but 2 people were going to a spot. One guy pulled into it, and the other guy jumped out of his truck, and he ran over to the guy's window. This stuff happens at the truck stops all the time. So yeah, they had an exchange, and then the other guy ended up letting him get the spot. But yeah, I was actually recording during that as well. And yeah, it'll probably be in some video coming up, but so much different stuff go on that you just got to be kind of prepared for whatever, and just keep a cool head, because yeah, like I said, you will be tested one way or another. That's guaranteed. Grace Logistics said, yeah, they got to cross. Yeah, they definitely supposed to cross dock it, or pay that man accordingly. That's what I would say. Pay him accordingly, because yeah, you can't hold up his truck for 4 days during the week. Come on, man. Like, nah. Yeah, the box truck side is different, man. Yeah, and it's changing, you know. That's what Imma do something on too, just 2021 compared to now. Because, yeah, it's a whole different ball game now. Like I said, it's crazy. Yeah, you probably could move some stuff with Curry on a 16-foot flatbed, especially if, it's last minute. Because I see that a lot where stuff will come up and nobody wanna take it. It's usually the longer runs, 250 plus miles. People don't wanna do those. So, oftentimes, those will get looked over. And, yeah, they'll probably throw one of them on a flatbed. Definitely, definitely. Oh, yeah, you definitely bring up cross docking. Yep, because that's what the process is, and that's what they should be doing. It should go to a holding warehouse and be offloaded and held there until they could figure it out. And you shouldn't necessarily even be the carrier to have to come back and get that. They should now pay another carrier and your day to day, whatever it was for you to wait. But that's how they try to get carriers. If you'll agree to hold that for 4 days for $150, then they gonna have you do it. But yeah, they definitely should cross dock that freight. And yeah, tell them that it should have went to a holding warehouse until they figured it out. That's not on you. And if they're gonna hold up your truck, then they should pay you accordingly. More what you think you should be paid per day off of what you're losing, not $150, which to me, like I said, I think is like a per diem. So yeah, that's definitely something to talk to them about. Okay, so I'm gonna get back into these questions. I know that was a little long-winded, but yeah, another question that I get on a regular basis is, can I hire a driver, never drive the truck, and do that to create passive income? That's a question that I oftentimes get as well. People want to hire a driver, purchase a truck, pay the driver to operate the truck, and they never want to actually operate the truck themselves. Now, what I will say is, I believe that if you're going to start a trucking company, a box truck business, whatever it may be, that you should be open and willing to initially running the truck yourself. And I wouldn't want to come in and try to put a driver in the truck because situations are going to arise. And when those situations come up, you're going to want to know how to deal with them. So once you've been in a truck and you've ran through and ran into different problems and so forth, you're going to be more able to instruct the driver on how to deal with different issues. So, me personally, I wouldn't recommend hiring a driver, never driving a truck. And I don't know how much passive income that's going to create, if any. I'm gonna just say that. Like, it may not be a whole lot of profit in that. You will have to look into it and determine. And I know individuals are going to do whatever they choose to do. So I'm just giving advice from what I would do and in my opinion. So no, I don't think that's a good idea. Is it possible? Maybe. How much profit are you going to make doing that? Who knows? That's something that you may have to look into and calculate beforehand in order to figure out if it's worth it or not. But Like I said, in my opinion, no, I wouldn't put a driver in a truck initially. And even if I was putting a driver in a truck initially, then I would get in a truck with the driver and learn the processes as well. That way, later on down the line, when things come up, you're more able to deal with the issues and you actually know what's going on. Drivers will lie to you. You know, they'll say something's occurring and may not be giving you the whole story. Like I said, it may be a total lie, you know, it may be more to the story and so forth. Some things I've heard of, like trucks getting damaged and drivers not even telling the owner that the truck is damaged. So that's just something to think about when you want to put somebody in your truck and not actually know the processes to what they're going to be doing day to day in whatever contracts or whatever they're running. So yeah, that's that. And another question that I've got, not so often, but it is a question that I get, you know, is should I hire family, friends, significant others, and so forth? So that's something that, you know, a lot of people wonder about. And, you know, I think it's a nice gesture. Everybody kind of want to help out people that they know, you know, like I said, friends, family, and so forth. I've tried it in the past and just being 100% honest, oftentimes some of those situations don't work out so well. I'll say that. Now, it's possible depending on who the individuals are that are working together. You know, say you want to hire your homeboy or whatever, it's possible. But like I said, oftentimes those situations may turn sour. And you don't want to lose good friends or be into it with family members over business matters and issues that are going to come up. Things are going to go wrong. Stuff is going to happen. Like I said, trucks get damaged and so forth. So it's easier to deal with these situations when you're dealing with an individual that's not your family or a close friend or so forth. Because some situations you have to enter into with action and you want to have an unbiased opinion. So, like I said, it could get tricky dealing with friends, family, and so forth. Like I had a homeboy, and I don't know what the situation was, but him and his wife would get into it. They would fall out at times. He'll get on his high horse, run out the house, you know, and get ready to, you know, leave and jump in his car. And his old lady would, say, hey, you know, leave that box truck key, you know, and I don't know what if they went in or I don't know what the situation was, but when they would fall out, she would take the key to his truck and he would leave the house, but he wouldn't be gone for that long because eventually he'll start thinking. And we had that conversation one time. He like, man, I can't even make no money. So he'll have to go back home and be like, man, how you gonna take the key? Like, give me the key back to my truck. So this type of stuff honestly happens. Like you get in agreements or situations, or you got co-signers or co-owners and stuff hit the fan and you run into these type of issues where, you know, you fighting over the key to your truck, you know, to go make your money. So that stuff happens. So I would say proceed with caution. That's my advice. You know, things happen, but I mean, it just kind of is what it is. You just would proceed with caution and make sure that it's not a close friendship or something that you sacrificing, you know, due to a business issue because things are going to come up and you may end up butting heads with a person. And like I said, it's way easier to deal with when it's not somebody that's close to you. So that's my opinion on that. Freight. You said you Google freight. I think y'all talking amongst each other in the chat. But yeah, I've heard of freight in the past as well. And like I said, that's one of like probably maybe 20 apps. But yeah, it's so many, and it's a lot of unknown apps that people don't know about. But yeah, I've heard of freight. Frayt, I think it is. So another question that I get more often than not is, what should I pay a driver, for individuals that want to run their truck with a driver? You know, they want to know what they should pay a driver. And I would say that you definitely want to pay your driver well, with hopes of retaining and holding on to them, but it's no guarantees. You can always have somebody come along that can offer them more money, and they're able to pretty much steal that driver away from you. And you do have individuals going around that may be operating a truck at particular points and periods of times that'll solicit your drivers. I think this has happened in a case, with one of my drivers. So that's something you definitely want to think about. So you want to pay your drivers well. And I would say, just to throw a number out, because you got to determine, what number that is for whatever particular area that you're running out of. But I would say at least above $20 per hour, or if you're going to pay them daily, at least above $200 a day for a box truck operator. And like I said, that's just a number I'm throwing out. Yours could be a little less, maybe a little more, but I'm thinking either 200 a day, because some people pay their drivers by the day, some pay them by the hour. I know the DSP drivers get paid by the hour. I think they make right around $20 an hour. So maybe you want to try to, you know, be in line with what those guys are making, maybe a little bit more, like I said, to be able to keep a driver, because if something go wrong, they could just run for a DSP owner operator. So yeah, like I said, either a little over 20 an hour or a little over 200 a day, depending on how long they're running throughout the day, would be what I would say would be kind of like a starting rate to pay a driver. Yeah, I know a lot of family members that run together. And I don't know, the people I know that are brothers, they usually work out well. But it's the other situations, like when it's a friend, or I don't know, some of the other situations work out weird. But usually when it's, because I know a couple situations where brothers work together in business and it works out. But even that, it depends on that relationship, because some brothers have a crazy relationship. And if that's the case, then I definitely wouldn't recommend it. But depending on how y'all grew up and what y'all relationship is, it could work. You always got special situations where it could work out, but I just wouldn't recommend it. I would say hire outside people personally, but you know it's kind of to each his own. Okay, yeah, I'ma check that email out. I got you. I got you. Great Polo said cars and cribs drop a lot of app names. Yeah, I just caught on to cars and cribs probably not even a month ago. But man, that dude is hilarious. Every video I watch of his, like, man, he is hilarious. And he give out a whole lot of game, but yeah, that channel gonna go crazy because yeah, that dude is hilarious. For real, for real. Yeah, he runs out of a what is it, like a Sprinter van? Yeah, that's what I was out of, a Sprinter van, what, a few years ago. But yeah, I saw where I think that's kind of when I caught on to him. I think he was buying or had just bought a Sprinter van. But yeah, man, when I watched the content, I'm like, where, how did I not, catch on to him a while ago? Because he got a really big following. But I had never, I think I had saw thumbnails, but I had never actually clicked on it. Maybe because it's cargo van. But a lot of them apps will work for a box truck too. So yeah, that's definitely something to think about. Okay, okay. So another question that I get a lot of times, and I see it like floating around in the space, a lot of people ask this question is, what should I pay for insurance? That's a big question that always comes up amongst new owner operators that are starting out. They want to know what's reasonable for insurance. And that kind of is going to be to each his own because it's going to depend on how new your company is, which most of you guys will be new. So that's going to be a determining factor. It's going to be depending on what drivers you use and their motor vehicle record. If they're CDL, then their CDL record. But it's going to be based off that as well. And the value of your truck. So right off the top of my head, I really can't tell you what's a good rate for your insurance unless I actually knew what drivers you were going to employ, what truck you were going to use, how new your company was, and so forth. But I will say a regular range is probably between 1,500 and 2,000 a month. And I would think it should be substantially less. But nowadays, it's in upwards of $2,000 that a lot of individuals pay monthly for insurance on one box truck. So it varies. But I would say that between 1,500 and 2,000 should be a safe range. If it's above that, then I would try to look around and see if you could maybe go through a broker, get shopped around and see if that'll work out better. Because you could definitely get cheaper insurance through a broker and they'll have you getting cargo insurance through one company and auto liability through another company, but it'll turn out to be a lot more cheaper than if you just went through Progressive and you just got one policy number. So if you think your insurance is high, I would say do more research and shop around. I got a video, it was pretty big, where I gave out a bunch of different insurance companies and brokers that individuals could work through and look at, to kind of have something else to rely on other than Progressive. Because I know that's one of the main determining factors is, how much you pay for insurance. And that's going to directly tie into overhead. So yeah, you want to be making the right decision on that end. But yeah, that's a question I get. What should you pay for insurance? So I would say just on average between 1,500 and 2,000. But a lot of times it could be way cheaper than that. It just depends. Yeah, it just kind of depends. And another question that comes up a lot as well, and I think these are individuals that are aspiring to run Amazon Relay. So a lot of individuals like to know, what do you make on average per week as a Amazon Relay box truck owner operator? So I get that question a lot, what do you make on average? And that's greatly changed. In the past, it was a situation where most people were making, I would say, between $2,000 and $4,000 a week. Now, I think on average, most box truck owner operators are making between 1,500 and 3,000 per week. So it's going down somewhat. And where you fall on that spectrum is going to just depend on you, the input you put in and so forth, and yeah, how hard you work is going to determine what you could make week by week with Amazon Relay. But between 1,500 and 3,000 is what I say you can kind of expect to make. And if you push it a little bit, you may be able to get over 4,000 a week. I wouldn't bank on doing that every week or most weeks at all. Like I said, probably right around 3,000, 3,500 if you pushing it and you running 5 to 6 days a week. That's what you're probably gonna make on average, is probably, like I said, about 2,800 to 35 if you pushing it. And if you kind of taking it easy and you doing shorter runs and conserving fuel and so forth, probably between like 1,500 and 2,000. Because a lot of people, they only do maybe a $300 run a night. So you're not gonna make a whole bunch total gross wise, but you may make more profit wise because you're not going to be spending as much in fuel, mileage, maintenance, and so forth. So that's definitely something to think about. But 1,500 to 3,000 is what I say on average with Amazon Relay per week for box trucks. And I think that's all 10, honestly. I think that was all 10. And it's a bunch more, but those were some that I see a lot. So I wanted to go over. I know another one is, a lot of individuals ask, should they start a trucking company specifically to run Amazon Relay? And I think everybody right now would say the answer to that would be no. But once again, to each his own. Anything can happen. So if you think you can wing it and you willing to put in the work and the effort it is to be profitable, then go for it. But I wouldn't necessarily get a box truck specifically to run Amazon Relay. If you're not willing to think outside the box and run other local contracts, go regional or OTR, then I wouldn't even get a box truck. And I definitely wouldn't purchase one. Maybe rent one and try it out. If you just say, hey, I got to try it out, then rent a truck and run relay and see how it works and learn the system. But I wouldn't purchase a truck just to run Amazon Relay. That's another question I get. And one other one I'm going to do, and this will be the last one, is a lot of individuals ask, well, hey, where can I find contracts for my box truck business? And that kind of depends on what type of contracts you're looking for. If you're just looking for regular, everyday local contracts, then I would say go on Indeed.com and pretty much look for contracts there. It's a lot of different stuff that comes up week to week. You just kind of got to research it and see what'll work for you. So local everyday contracts, I would say do indeed.com. If you want to do government contracts for a box truck business, that's a little more tricky. Now, first off, you're going to have to create a sam.gov account. And this is going to take some time. You're going to have to input a whole bunch of information. So you're going to have to go to sam.gov, create an account for your business. And then once you create the account, it's not that simple because you're going to have to bid on these government contracts. So you're going to need to have a business plan, and you're going to need to know how to bid yearly for what you want to, make for a particular government contracts. I have a sam.gov account. It's probably about to expire. I'm gonna have to redo it. And it's a very long process. But yeah, it's not just as simple as signing up and bidding on contracts. You got to have a business plan, and have everything mapped out in order to know, what it's going to take. Because what you quote for a bid is what you're saying it's going to cost you to run their freight for maybe a year. So if you don't know how to bid, then you're going to run into issues when it's time to run these contracts, because you got to pay drivers, you got to pay for fuel, and so forth. So yeah, with the sam.gov government contracts, this is usually what you'll see when guys have US mail on the back of their box trucks. They have government contracts. And yeah, you don't just get a US mail sign, put it on your truck, and start running US mail. Those are found on sam.gov, and they're bidded on. And if those guys are running US mail, they either bidded on those contracts on sam.gov, or they're subcontracted out to them by somebody else who bidded on those contracts and won them. But yeah, construction, US mail, disaster relief, all of that stuff is on sam.gov. And like I said, it's a more intricate process to getting those contracts. It's not just as simple as signing up and bidding, but signing up is the first part of the process. So that's where you would find like government contracts. And I'm gonna tell you, if you get one of those contracts, you ain't gonna have a whole lot to worry about. They definitely pay well, but it's getting them and realizing that it's going to be a lot more competition, bigger businesses with a lot more equipment and resources than you have, that you're going to be bidding against. So yeah, sam.gov is where you'll apply. And if you get in, you'll kind of see what I'm saying, where it's not just cut and dry where you just go in and start bidding. You are probably going to have to find somebody that could help you, figure out the system on how to create a business plan, what the proper amounts to bid are for different contracts, because they're all different. So that's where you would do that, either indeed.com, like for local, or sam.gov for like the government, construction, disaster relief, and so forth, is where you will find those contracts. Nito LLC, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. And yeah, if y'all are in the stream, before y'all get out of here, please do me a favor and hit the like button for me one time. That's all I ask. And yeah, I plan to be doing one of these or so a week. And I'm gonna pop in and do some, extra ones here and there. But yeah, I wanted to do this one to kind of just touch on all of the questions that I just kind of went through here. And like I said, y'all hit the like button for me on y'all way out. And yeah, if you catching this after the live stream, yeah, Show the stream some love and hit the like button for me. Do I ever run relay contracts? No, no. I haven't heard anything good about Amazon Relays contracts, to tell you the truth. Like, especially in my area, I've heard of some other areas where it may work, but I'd rather try my luck off of the spot relay load board. And that's where I usually find, the good stuff. Hold on. It's hot. He done burning me up, man. Yeah, so yeah, I try my luck off of the spot relay load board. And usually between, like I said, 7 p.m. and maybe 11 p.m., you could find really decent loads on there. But no, I don't mess with the contracts, and I'll touch on this too. One reason why I'm not a big fan of the Amazon relay contracts or just booking in advance in general is on a day-to-day basis, you never know what can occur with these trucks. You could come out, have a load book, your truck don't start. It's not so easy now to get somebody else to run a load on your Amazon relay account. So I always kind of try to book the day of, once I've actually started the truck and saw it run, make sure it's not any major issues. Like I said, just so I could avoid a rejection or running into, different problems with relay. So that's the thing with the contract. Once you sign into that contract, you're locked in for 1 week, 2 weeks, and so forth. So it's risky. What if you come out one day and the truck don't start? You see what I'm saying? So that's something to think about when you running or booking these contracts. And that's kind of why I stay away from them, because I'm just like, I don't want to have the obligation beforehand and run into issues, or something come up and I'm not able to make a load, and they are unforgiving as far as how they, you know, enacted this new performance system. So if you mess up, you will be penalized to the severest degree. So I try to stay out of them situations. And yeah, I don't book the contracts, as well as I've never seen anybody that's done anything significant, profit wise, running relay contracts. And I'm not saying that it's not possible, but I don't see the value in those contracts. I'd rather try my luck on the spot relay load board. And if nothing comes up worthwhile, then I won't run my truck. That's usually how I do it. I just won't run the truck at all and kind of wait till the next day. Like I said, you got 7 days out of the week. If you could get that truck moving 5 with profitable loads, you should be pretty good. I don't know why you would need to run more than, 5 days a week. I do sometimes. I do. But the thing I'm saying is, if you're running profitable loads, you really shouldn't need to. I can do what I need to do in 3 to 4 days if it isn't any major mishaps, which we always run into major mishaps. But if it isn't any major mishaps, 4 days tops, I can hit my goal. If I want to make 3,500 a week, even 4,000, 4 or 5 days, if everything goes as planned, I should be able to make, what I set out to. So yeah, I just say that it just kind of depends. It's to each his own, but I don't want to mess with the contracts at all. No. You have someone call for trash hauling. I would factor that into the cost. Man, I wouldn't wanna haul trash. I guess it just kinda depends on how you hauling it because I've heard of some horror stories with people not only hauling trash, but hauling things that were going to the dump. And not just what the items were, but the process of getting this stuff on and off the truck. You could have awkward items that are going to the dump. So I would be careful with the trash and just kind of, look at whatever you hauling. And if it don't look right, don't haul it. Because I seen a situation where it was some type of material that could have been asbestos or something like that, and they were having a guy put it in his truck, and he was concerned if, it was poisonous, and they were telling him, "No, it was just, it had to be thrown away." I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, I would be careful with the trash hauling. But yeah, I would definitely factor all of that into, whatever you gonna charge them. And yeah, I would charge them to load the trailer, definitely. Because you can. I mean, why not? Great Polo, you wasn't gonna leave out of here without saying nothing crazy. See, I knew you was gonna do something. I knew you was gonna do something. You weren't gonna let me get out of here in peace. Like you was gonna say something crazy before the night was over here. I ain't even going back and forth with you tonight. Like this I feel like was a good live stream. I ain't doing that with you tonight, Great Polo. You have a nice night. I'm not going back and forth with you tonight. I appreciate you supporting the stream though. I definitely do. Grace Logistics said when he first started out, he looked into leasing, but a lot of the leasing companies would not lease to him because he was a new authority. Yeah, that's what you're gonna run into with leasing, with insurance, all of that, with equipment loans, business funding and financing, all of that stuff. The time frame for you to be in business to qualify is now a year plus. So that's definitely something to think about as well. Yeah, when you starting out, you ain't gonna get a lot of love for that first from brokers. Amazon ain't giving out no love no more for 6 months. It's nothing. It ain't gonna be a lot of love out here. So for the first year, you got to prepare to pay top dollar for damn near everything, even maintenance. You won't know where to find the cheap maintenance. So that's something else you're gonna run into as well. Like where you gonna get your maintenance done. I would look into that before starting as well. Talk to some different people, get some leads on different maintenance companies because if you have to go to these rushes and these truck centers and Peterbilt, you're going to pay accordingly. Now, oftentimes that's some of the best service, but you're going to pay accordingly for those particular shops. So if you could find shops that have, a cheaper hourly labor rate, I would advise you to do that first and foremost, as opposed to trying to come out here and, just go to whatever shop is, the big name. Yeah. I currently don't use DAT, but the way I try to negotiate what I try to do, and it's not always possible, but I try to get $2 each way. So if I'm driving say, I don't know, 100 miles, then oftentimes I'm trying to get like 400 for that run. Like that's usually how I calculate, you know, what I want to make for a particular run or what is worth to run it or not. But oftentimes that's not the case. I mean, I like to get 500 for 100 miles, but usually I want to get at least $400 to run 100 miles. So that's kind of how I calculate, my rate per mile on what I want to drive for. But I will say now, oftentimes I do have to drive for less. It is a numerous occasions where I drive for less than $2 per mile each way. Sometimes it's more like $1.50 per mile each way, when you're getting $3 per mile. So it's rough right now, but I keep saying this, it's the first quarter. So you can't expect rates to be, what they were in October and November and December. Not saying that we saw the highest rates in the world, but they were way better than kind of what we're seeing right now. So we know we can't expect that at least for another month or so. So yeah, that's kind of how I calculate, what I want to drive for. But everybody has their own way of calculating their rate per mile that's acceptable. But yeah, that's how I do it. And yeah, I'm gonna probably stick around a few more minutes and yeah, I'm gonna get ready to get on out of here. Like I said, y'all hit the like button if you in the stream and you have not done so already. That way we could push this out to other individuals that may be interested in the topics that I touched on. And yeah, I'm gonna try to do another one of these within the next 7 days, hopefully. I'm gonna try to. But I know I'm about to get kind of busy, so we'll see. But I'm gonna try to do one within the next 7 days. It wasn't a bunch of people requesting it, but I did get a couple people ask me, "Hey, when you gonna do your next live stream?" So I'm gonna try to stay consistent with these, from here on out. But stuff does come up. I do get super busy, so bear with me. But I'm gonna try to interact with you guys and do these on a regular basis. If I could do them more than once a week, I will. I like doing it. It's not a problem at all. It's just having the time. And like I said, you guys don't see what goes into just setting all of this up and being able to do it. But once I start doing it, it's cool. I love interacting with you guys. So with that being said, yeah, man, I ain't gonna hold you guys too much longer. Let's see what else might have popped up before I get out of here. If you're OTR, I do factor the rate or the weight. Sorry. I do factor the weight into, whatever I charge to pull the load. Because yeah, if you're putting a heavier load onto your truck, it's more risk involved. You're burning more fuel. You probably incurring more maintenance as well. So yeah, when I did run a Sprinter van, OTR, and when I ran locally with my box truck, if it was a heavier load, yeah, I would ask for more money, maybe 50, 100, 150 more dollars. So definitely you would factor in the weight. Also the skid count. Each skid, is going to cost a shipper more money. So that's something to think about as well, the skid count. So yeah, weight and skid count does definitely factor in. Oh man, I appreciate you joining me, Terry Fisher. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah, a lot of people I see are already getting out of here, and yeah, I'm about to get out of here as well. We right at the 2 hour mark, so perfect timing. But y'all hit the like button for me, and like I said, I'll be back within the next 7 days, hopefully, with another good live stream. And man, I appreciate y'all coming out and hanging out with me tonight. And I hope y'all have a great night. And man, peace, blessings, and y'all have a good one. Appreciate you.